Testing view. I think this would be much better. Okay. So I think this would be better naman kapag ito ang gagawin ko. So, yan. Let's go with the let's go back to sa vital staining agents. So the first one was Lissamine green and the other one is rose bengal. So as discussed before also, Lissamine green and rose bengal have both the same both yung same na purposes for staining the epithelial area of your conjunctiva and your cornea. So as you can see here in this staining here, we can see some ciliary injections and some sort of um, scar tissue that has extended from your limbus, covering your limbus up to the patient's cornea. So um, yung isa naman is yung diffuse na Lissamine green, as you can see here. Na-zoom lang kasi siya, but here in this area, this one is staining dun sa superior area ng cornea ng patient. This one is an area sa 5 o'clock. Sa 4 to 5 o'clock zone ng um, cornea ng patient. So, when we're going for zoning then also, see your grading marks for your cornea. Makikita ninyo, most of the time is yung ginagawa nila na grading is, wait, let's see some, ano pa, wala ko sa, so here, parang kumbaga we view the patient's cornea as yung sa clock. So we have the 12, 6, 3, and 9. We also have the 1 to 3, 3 to 6, 6 to 9, and 9 to 12. So area na dito. So when we are trying to map yung kung saan yung staining or yung lesion ng patient, we usually use those mapping. Kapag if ever na sabihin natin na nasa center nga lang yung lesion, it's mostly sasabihin lang natin na central yung lesion niya. But if we are parang kumbaga lagpas tayo ng kanyang pupil or yung center, we're already going to have those parang clock zones na lang din as our marking um, for our data sa pag natin sa lesion ng patient ninyo or sa certain stain na nakikita natin. So, after yung vital staining agents na Lissamine green and fluorescein, so these ones do not require you to use any type of filter, just your regular diffused illumination. So for that, we also have other staining agents that we can use to map out or to show more complicated areas or complicated stains dito sa around sa central or more on dun sa other areas dito sa cornea, and just in case most of the time kasi ang rose bengal and lissamine green will most likely just stain degenerate the epithelial cells. But what if your complications can be observed further or will need to be observed further um, due to parang kumbaga differential diagnosis. So we can use C fluorescein. So same as conjunctival complications. Some of the complications here are also, some of yung conjunctival complications, contact lens complications, can also be seen dito sa cornea. One of those complications is yung punctate staining. So most often noted the form of disturbance, and it's also referred to as yung micropunctate staining or superficial punctate erosion or SRE, or superficial punctate keratitis or SPK. Yung intense naman na if ever na kapag punctate staining, it's just around, parang ganito lang siya, small dots lang ang nakikita natin dun sa surface ng patient. Dun sa surface ng patient. Very ano siya, very minimal yung spaces ng dots niya. Nakikita natin na micro dots. If ever na intense yung kanyang dots or more, parang yung spaces niya are more smaller and mas more kita natin or mas nakikita ninyo yung mga stain as a more bigger dots or less talaga yung spaces niya, that is now your stipple staining. So the next one is yung diffuse staining, or diffuse staining is a vast array of closely separated punctate spots, gives rise to a diffused appearance. So here, parang kumbaga, meron tayo yung stipple stains up in this area, dito sa central section around the patient's pupil. But as you can see in the patient's 6 o'clock zone, makikita ninyo naman na very ano na siya, yung parang magkadikit na talaga siya. Or yung area here, parang complete na siya, hindi na siya yung ano, hindi na siya yung compared dito sa punctate spots natin na meron tayong very parang widespread na spaces dito. Dito, very ano na siya, magkakadikit na talaga siya. So the next one is the coalescent staining. Coalescent superficial corneal staining is the overall pattern of fluorescence may be diffused as to obscure the constituent elements of staining, resulting in an appearance described as confluent or coalescent staining. So it can be confluent stain, can be coalescent stain. So this one, makikita ninyo, it would look like your patient has a surface or corneal surface opacity under your staining fluorescein stain, but most likely by the naked eye or during yung ano, just your diffused illumination without the help of fluorescein stain, it would appear just as a parang spot lang or a dry tear spot yung area na ito. But as you can see dito sa confluent staining, compared to the other stains that I have shown you, this one is more on sa central area naman siya. And it is more of yung in-obscure na niya yung surface compared to these two, si punctate and yung diffuse staining. You can see that this has more spaces pa rin. But when we are going for coalescent stains, yung mga dots or yung mga ano seem to be bigger, and spaces of those stained dots are most likely absent na din. Parang iisang dot na siya na malaki dito sa ano corneal surface ng patient ninyo. So the next one in our stains also is the 3 and 9 o'clock stain. We have seen this type of staining sa conjunctival complications. But this complication can also be seen in your patient's corneal surface. So the 3 and 9 o'clock stain is the classic form of staining in rigid lens wearers, and it refers to a triangular area of staining, an apex away from the central cornea, at the nasal and temporal cornea, outside the lens periphery. So most likely kasi ang rigid lens periphery natin, eto kasi si patient, kakatanggal lang niya ng kanyang rigid lenses. So you can see some significant scarring in this area, or parang may pit dito sa area na ito. So this one is yung rigid lenses niya. It most likely had stayed here since it is a little bit more loose ang kanyang fitting siguro. So, ang ano niya dito is possible that they had problems with with the patient's diameter and yung base curve. So here you can see that this one is somewhat of a semi-triangular, triangular lesion seen here in this area in our 9 o'clock. A little bit more prominent dito sa 9 o'clock compared dito sa 3 o'clock area. Yes, this one is the 3 o'clock area and this one is the 9 o'clock. This one is actually the patient's right eye, itong picture na ito. So you can see in the temporal region here, you can see that your patient's wait lang. Nagkakaroon ako ng ng direction. But yes, this one is the right eye. You can see here more prominent or more seen ang kanyang staining dito sa right eye, ay right side, dito sa temporal side. Most probably ang kanyang rigid lenses, you can see the pit here is moving towards the side, towards the temporal area, or yung kanyang pag-movement, yung movement niya is more on towards this temporal zone due to yung um, improper parameters ng kanyang rigid lenses. There's a possibility that pupunta siya din dito sa temporal, ay dito sa nasal area. Depende kasi dun sa parameters and how the contact lens behaves in the patient's eye during blinking and during at normal gaze ng patient ninyo. So for fluorescein, for 3 and 9 o'clock staining, fluorescein stain is more probably used when we are trying to check for 3 o'clock 9 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock staining sa cornea. But when we are trying to delve deeper or trying to check for your patient's conjunctival 3 and 9 o'clock staining, we often rely on our two vital staining agents, which is C, Lissamine green, and rose bengal. So there's somewhat of a difference there. So the next one, after C 3 and 9 o'clock staining, we also have C dimple veil staining. So si dimple veil staining is condition that is caused by air bubbles becoming trapped between the back surface of the lens and the corneal epithelium and is caused by poor lens cornea fitting relationship. There is a possibility that your patient's lenses is a little bit too steep, as you can see dito sa first photo, a little bit more or iba yung yung hindi siya nagkakaroon ng central good centration. You can see that it is a little bit more nasa superior area siya and a little bit more steep, possible na a little bit more steep siya. There is less din ang touching ng kanyang rigid lenses to the epithelial surface, yung back surface ng rigid lenses niya. Therefore, forming these types of bubbles. Dito din makikita nyo dito sa second photo, although there is some sort of good centration dito sa RGP ng patient, which is we also see here that there's a good band of peripheral clearance, but it seems that yung type of lens design or lens edge design niya and yung kanyang base curve is too steep for the patient's cornea. That's why there are air bubbles forming in the center. It is always important that we have some central touch talaga dito sa rigid lenses ng patient ninyo as to avoid this kind of problems, these bubbles. And si dimple veil staining is mostly compared sa mga other stains that we have mentioned kanina, it is one of yung sinasabi natin na not a true staining. Kasi it is mostly a air bubbles compared dun sa other na stains natin. These ones are stain degenerated cells then also that cannot be seen with our Lissamine green and rose bengal. Most of these stained areas na ito are degenerated epithelial cells or epithelial damage. Itong mga ito. But this one is just air bubbles, showing us that we have problems or complications on your patient's contact lens fitting. The next one will be C inferior epithelial arcuate lesion or yung smile stain. So the smile stain is a stain located in the area between the 4 and 9 o'clock zone of your patient. So you can see here on this photo, meron tayong staining that extends from your 4 to maybe around 7 o'clock ito. Maybe sa 5 to 7 o'clock ang nakikita natin na area here. Some smile stains or inferior arcuate lesions can extend up to this area here depending on the type of damage, depending on the damage ng uh, contact lens or depending on the ano na to, amount depending on the amount of damage the contact lens has inflicted, will determine also yung severity ng kanyang staining here. You can see here that yung staining niya is a little bit small. Possible that yung parameters ng kanyang soft lenses or hard lenses can only be, ang usual damage niya lang is just the up and down motion ng kanyang contact lens, or yung if ever na rigid lenses, the rigid lenses is relying on the 12 and 6 o'clock 12 and 6 o'clock zone to hold on to the patient's corneal surface. And most of the time, if the patient's eyes are dry or having any problems dun sa epithelial surface, and with yung rigid lenses having poor lens parameters, this will lead to this type of lesion also. Next is yung if we have inferior, we also have superior epithelial arcuate lesions. Corneal epithelial lesion that usually occurs in the area covered by the upper eyelid within 2 to 3 millimeters from the superior limbus. So around 2 to 3 millimeters ang maano natin as yung seals or superior epithelial arcuate lesions. And si seals naman can be seen in the 2 and the 10 and 2 o'clock region naman siya compared to your superior, which is the 4 and 8 o'clock region naman yun. So the next one will be sorry, epithelial plug. So the epithelial plug is one of the most devastating form of staining. Refers to a large discrete area of full thickness epithelial loss, or meron tayong parang na peel off na area dito sa corneal surface. So most of the time, these areas or these lesions we can see as these ones, but there are most often times also we also have a deeper damage to this area. Hindi lang siya epithelial zone ang na-peel off. What can we do to determine if this area is an epithelial plug or something that is deeper? We perform the fluorescein staining also to see how big the damage is and for us to map kung gaano ka lalim siya, and for us to see kung if ever na what you are seeing here is just yung damage niya or the amount of damage here, kasi there's a possibility that there is even more damage here that cannot be illuminated by just yung regular light. So we have to use fluorescein stain for us to view a little bit more kung ano yung damage niya. So here you can see in this area, although for both areas here, this one is actually the same stain as the same eye in fluorescein lang yung isa. And you can see this one is a little small. Even though sabihin natin na this one is on a higher magnification, you can see that the shape of yung epithelial plug niya is a little bit more small. But if you see here, the devastation is a little bit more wider. And you can see the surface here is a little bit more wider than or yung surface damage niya. And another way also to determine if this one is just the epithelial layer being epithelial flap being peeled off, or it is a little bit more deeper, we will rely on the breaking of yung fluorescein dye dito sa area na ito. That is now what we call yung Seidel's test. So we directly instill si fluorescein dye above the wound or basta close to the wound so that we can cover as large amount of stained fluorescein dye dito sa wound, and we observe how fast it breaks. If this is a faster if it has a faster break dito sa area na to, there is wound leakage. So this is a deeper wound, not just an epithelial plug, but more of an a high, a more serious corneal wound that needs some attention also. So, if in cases naman na hindi nagkaroon ng fast breaking um, ang kanyang ang plug na ito, this is just the epithelial plug or just around dun sa epithelial area siya, which will then regenerate later on. So, of course, we also have other stains that can be induced by chemicals or solutions sa contact lens. This one is C, solution-induced corneal staining or 6. Most of the time, um, problems like these ones, see solutions. Kaya most of the time, I always ask you guys to if ever na meron kayong solution na i-dispense sa patients na wala dun sa sinabi ko na solutions that you can use, I always ask you to send me a photo or send me a sample photo of what type of solution you are going to give your patient. Kasi we have to know also, not all solutions, even though it has good benefits or good wetting agents, ganyan, not all solutions with good benefits or better benefits can be good for your patient, and also not all solutions na may magandang benefits on paper can be good for your current na contact lens material na ginagamit para sa patient ninyo. So it's always important to know what type of solution you have to give your patient, or what type of a solution can be okay for your patient's corneal surface or yung ocular surface, and of course yung contact lens material na ginagamit ng patient ninyo. Kasi there's a variety of contact lens solutions and a variety of contact lens cleaning solutions that are on the market. But there are solutions that are specific. Those are solutions that can be ay ano to may specific requirements din siya for the certain contact lens materials, that contact lenses that your patient is using, or contact lenses that you will be giving your patient. So the next one, this one is also solution induced. So preservative associated hyperfluorescence. So as you can see, compared sa corneal staining or solution induced, si preservative associated hyperfluorescence naman is more of a hyperfluorescence ng buong ocular surface ng patient ninyo. You can also see this sa conjunctival surface niya, and you can see that the fluorescence is a little bit more parang buo siya compared to this one na para siyang full on stipple, intense stipple staining yung nakikita natin dito. You can see here in hyperfluorescence, it is like yung buong epithelial surface niya is stained in a uniform layer, and with no possibility of breaking. Even if the patient has been blinking for quite a lot, makikita niyo pa rin yung stain na in the same area. So, preservative associated hyperfluorescence will most likely is yung preservatives that are being used for your patient's solution, or yung solutions na ginagamit ninyo. Some of yung nakikita natin na nagkakaroon ng hyperfluorescence is the wrong use din ng solutions, or yung solutions with a little bit of a more highly reactive preservative. For example, most of yung nagkakaroon ng ganito na problem is patients who are using hydrogen peroxide in their cleaning regimen for rigid lenses and soft lenses. Kung makikita ninyo siya sa market, that is CAO Sept, which is under kay Alcon or iOS. You can see that most of yung patients do not follow yung usual na regimen, or yung proper na cleaning time niya, which is around 6 hours. kailangan nakababad siya under yung special container niya. Yung special container na yon contains yung yung buffering agent that will neutralize yung peroxide dun sa yung peroxide solution dun sa case na yun, yung special case na yun. And for it to be neutralized almost completely, we'll need you to wait for at least 6 hours or overnight. Some patients do not wait for that long, or minsan some patients are very hypersensitive pa rin ang corneal surface nila or yung ocular surface nila, even though it has been an overnight exposure yung peroxide solution dun sa rigid lenses or soft lenses. And after that, ang mostly kasi na sinasabi nila, it is most likely safe na talaga na to wear after 8 hours directly from the special case onto dun sa eye ninyo. For some, they have to wash it with yung normal cleaning solution or contact lens cleaning solution. But for some, they can wear it directly. There are some also who, by mistake, ang ginagamit nilang panghugas dun sa contact lens after it has been neutralized or after it has been exposed for 8 hours, they use the same peroxide solution. So na-introduce na naman tayo ng unbuffered or unneutralized na hydrogen peroxide dun sa contact lens, and then nasusot nila, therefore going to leading to this kind of staining here. Okay, so the next one is yung causes niya. So what are the causes of these stains? I have mentioned some of them, but there are numerous contact lens related causes of epithelial staining, which can be broadly classified into six etiological categories. So we have mechanical, we have exposure, metabolic, toxic, and allergic and infectious reactions. So we'll start with mechanical. So usually ang sources ng mechanical staining will include yung lens defects natin. That would be sa rigid lenses or soft lenses na lens defects. The other one is poor lens finishing or rough edges or rough rigid lenses, yung edges niya, which usually will touch yung cornea, causing some sort of lesions also. Dun natin makikita yung smile stain, yung superior epithelial arcuate lesion. Makikita din natin yung 3 and 9 o'clock stain due to this type of profile. Another one will be lens binding, as can occur with overnight rigid lens or extended wear lenses. So parang when we say lens binding, dumidikit siya dun sa dumidikit siya sa sa epithelial surface without any tear film siya. This one is usually observed nga sa overnight wear na contact lenses or Aeroptics night and day, or overnight rigid lenses, which is Ortho K. Another one under mechanical is excessive lens bearing. So lens bearing, which is yung tight rigid lens fit, bearing of a poorly blended optic zone junction, or decentered lenses siya. Next one is of course foreign bodies beneath the lens. The patient might not have seen or might not have cleaned it properly, kanyang contact lenses before wearing it, or during the time na nakasuot si patient ng contact lenses, he is in an area where it's a highly polluted area or very prone to foreign bodies getting into the patient's eyes, and by a stroke of luck, yung foreign body na yun, it ended up under the uh, contact lens niya, causing some sort of harm also dun sa epithelial surface ng patient. Another one is deposits on the posterior lens surface. And deposits on the posterior lens surface naman that can cause abrasions pa rin, especially if it has been a little bit more thicker talaga, or naging mas malaki yung kanyang staining. Another one is yung abrasion occurring during lens insertion or removal. improper na pagtanggal at paglagay ng contact lens dun sa eye ng patient ninyo. So it's always important that we ask our patient to most likely kasi kapag nagpapasuot tayo or sa inyo, I think for some of you, ang ginagawa ninyo pag nagsusot or nagtatanggal kayo ng contact lens, especially if these are soft lenses, directly into the cornea. And when we are trying to remove it, we remove it in the cornea. So ang pinaka-proper way is for us to place it on the conjunctival surface and then we move the contact lens onto the cornea. There are a lot of ways to do that. We ask the patient to look up, place the contact lenses below onto the superior area of the conjunctiva. And once the patient or it feels na okay yung paglagay natin, there is more touch dun sa epithelial surface, ay dun sa ocular surface ng patient compared to the finger, you remove and you ask your patient to look down so that the soft lenses will form or parang magmo-move siya onto the uh, cornea on its own without any pressure or any type of ano dun sa fingers ng patient or fingers mo. When we are trying to remove naman, also some of you will most likely suggest that it is directly onto the cornea yung pag-pinch out dun sa contact lens. But it is better actually to move it towards the sides, either dun sa nasal, sa temporal, superior or inferior na bulbar conjunctiva. Move it to the sides, magkakaroon siya ng folds for easy pinching out ng soft lenses. You will observe that later on, and if you want, you will try to practice wearing soft lenses. Madami tayong soft lenses doon na pwede ninyong gamitin for practice ng pagsuot para sa patient ninyo kasi one of the requirements naman kasi talaga for your patients ng contact lenses is for them to successfully fit and remove their contact lenses on their own without your help. So that is for mechanical. The other one is exposure. So most of the time, exposure and exposure and toxic mostly is the same. Exposure in soft lens wearers, exposure keratitis manifests typically as a band of arcuate staining and is caused by epithelial disruption as a result of drying of the corneal surface. So most of the time is exposure or yung parang pagdadry ng ng corneal surface niya yung one of the reasons bakit nagkakaroon ng staining. Another one is metabolic issues, which is yung presence of decreased oxygen and increased carbon dioxide in the pre-lens tear post-lens pre-lens tear film siya. Post contact lens tear film, the extreme absence of oxygen and the extreme presence of or abundance of carbon dioxide will lead to hypercapnia, carbon dioxide, increased presence of carbon dioxide, hypercapnia, absence of oxygen in the post-lens tear film, which is hypoxia, will then cause some epithelial damage, then leading to those stains that we have seen dun sa previous most likely kapag ganito ng desiccation due to hypercapnia and hypoxia, makikita natin as yung mga stipple staining and yung punctate staining. Next is yung allergic and infectious reaction. Patient most likely is allergic to your certain solution, but somewhat dito naman sa Asian countries, it is a little bit rare that patients are having allergic reactions to the certain contact lens solutions that are available in our market. But one of the things that they are reacting is during springtime or during the time that there is pollen na flying around and then ending up on your patient's ocular surface, therefore causing some allergic reactions or redness dun sa surface ng patient. And in terms of infectious reactions naman, um, most likely there is poor lens handling, or there's poor hygiene in terms of storage and dun sa pag-clean ng contact lens. And then those bacterial or viral organisms tuloy, bacteria or virus, sometimes will end up in the ocular surface, therefore causing some sort of conjunctivitis or epithelial damage, then leading to some sort of stains that are sometimes permanent, but most of the time naman temporary siya. Okay, so when we say toxic naman, yung sinabi ko kanina, kapag toxic naman is the use of the wrong use of solutions. For example, yung sinabi ko kanina, which is si hydrogen peroxide. Most of the times, hydrogen peroxide can only be used dun sa special case na i-provide din sa kanya for neutralizing. And some patients accidentally use that solution to wash off the neutralized solution, and then they end up wearing contact lenses that have been bathed in hydrogen peroxide that has not been neutralized, therefore causing those hyperfluorescence dun sa corneal surface. So how can we manage these uh, these conditions? So when we are ano na 'to, unlike unlike the others na complications, yung management will depend on the cause niya, which is yung sinabi natin kanina, which is yung six etiological causes, which is mechanical, exposure, metabolic, toxic and allergic reaction, and infectious. So if the patient is yung reason niya or nakita natin na ang cause ng kanyang staining will be due to yung mechanical causes, then we'll strategize on how to modify ang kanyang lens fit. We'll try to see yung parameters niya. We'll try to remodify a best possible fit with the less possible staining. Kasi minsan, yung hindi natin masyadong naiiwasan, lalo na kapag rigid lenses ang ginagamit natin, we will often see staining talaga for your patient. But ang gusto natin is little to no stain ang nakikita natin. So we have to modify different key areas or different key areas of yung parameters para sa patient ninyo. Be it yung uh, base curve or yung kanyang diameter. And of course, yung material also ng kanyang GP lenses. And yung design, kasi we have a lot of GP lenses, scleral, corneal rigid lenses. We also have yung ortho K lenses. And under ortho K lenses, we also have a lot of designs for ortho K lenses also. Next is yung exposure. And most of the time, for exposure naman, we have to manage also pa rin kanyang lens parameters, ay lens material, and the type of solution that can maintain a normal normal tear film in the ocular surface. Metabolic causes, again, we need to um, we need to ask the patient to reduce yung wearing time niya, so that we can introduce or we can have more time for the patient to recover yung ocular surface niya after yung long hours ng kanyang contact lens wear. Kasi there's a possibility that we cannot manage yung kanyang parameters so that we can meet yung proper transfer ng tear film onto the surface. So we use rewetting drops siguro, or what we can do also is to lessen yung wearing time ng patient ninyo, so that if there is presence of hypoxia and hypercapnia, when we usually remove the mechanical insult, we will we will we will introduce, or parang mas may improve natin yung tear transfer niya, or yung transfer ng tear film niya dun sa ocular surface. Next is yung dun sa toxic, yung most obvious strategy is to stop lang yung yung ginagamit niya na or identify what type of what has been causing yung toxic reaction, and then to stop what has kumbaga if ever na solution siya or yung si peroxide solution, we ask the patient to stop yung paggamit ng ganun na na solution. Or if kaya naman na i-educate natin yung patient kasi possible naman na hindi lang niya or alam or nakalimutan niya lang or kumbaga yun nga, hindi niya alam kung paano gamitin pala siya properly, then we educate our patient on how to use it properly. And if it is still not enough, then we should just stop. We remove this in your patient's cleaning regimen na lang din. Next is allergic reactions. Possible is if ever that yung allergic reaction is due to yung due to yung solution we manage and identify or get prescribe a different type of solution para sa patient ninyo and see if it does not um, give any allergic reactions. And if the allergic reaction is due to some environmental causes like yung pollen, we ask our patient not to wear or reduce yung patient's wearing time so that we can lessen yung chances or tendencies that your patient can have any allergic reactions due to natural causes. And infectious, we usually ask the patient to stop wearing muna si contact lenses and manage yung infection niya. If ever, be it bacterial or viral infection, we manage first and then we assess the patient's corneal surface if it is a little if the infection is gone or if the patient's corneal surface is okay na din para sa contact lens wear ulit or it meets the minimum criteria for contact lens wear ulit. Okay, so okay lang. Ito naman, we'll go for this one naman for epithelial microcysts naman. This one does not require you to see, requires you to see it in some extent like this one. These ones are usually one of yung I think nakita ninyo ito as one of yung differential diagnosis ninyo din sa mucin balls. So epithelial microcysts. So signs of these microcysts can be seen in the central and paracentral cornea at low mag or 15. They appear as minute, scattered gray opaque dots with focal illumination and as transparent refractile inclusions with indirect retroillumination. So careful observation at high mag or 40 times 40 is required to differentiate epithelial microcysts from the other epithelial inclusions such as vacuoles or bullae, which take on a superficially similar appearance. So when we observe it in under yung higher magnification, you can see here yung sinasabi niya dito which is yung um, opaque dots with focal illumination, and they usually appear as transparent refractile under indirect retroillumination. So let's observe here. This one is direct illumination and this one is yung under retroillumination. So you can see here they look like opaque dots dito. But under under indirect retroillumination, which is this one, makikita niyo siya as transparent dots. And you can see here in this area, dito din natin makikita yung sinasabi natin na differential diagnosis. So the light is at the left side, yung illumination. So you can see here, you can differentiate these two are superficially the same. They are round. They are in the epithelial area, and when illuminated, mayroon kayong napapansin ba na difference sa kanilang dalawa? Is there anyone who can tell me kung ano yung difference niya dito sa second photo? Ito?
Dok, yung isa parang naka-bulge, tas yung isa parang naukit, yung parang
Parang superficially siya. Okay? So that is a good observation. Yes, parang deeper pit itong area na ito, and ito is para siyang ano, parang bukol siya. Yun yung sinasabi mo.
Yes po.
Okay. So, in higher magnification, paano mo siya malalaman na this one is a parang deep pit and this one is parang bukol siya? Makikita ninyo siya, or you will rely on your illumination. Makikita ninyo under yung ano, direct illumination, you can see that the light has been refracted onto this side here on the right side. So this one is a pit dito sa side. And this one naman is a parang bukol or a bubble actually. This one. So, ang refraction niya, under yung light na dito, dito na tumatama kaagad yung light niya onto the left side. And yung shadow niya is dito sa right side. So, this one is makasasabi natin na parang ano siya, bukol siya talaga. Kasi dito pa lang nagre-reflect na yung light or dito na nag illuminate yung light. Dito, this one will be noticed as a pit kasi yung light is under here. Let's say that yung this one is a shadow dun sa ano, dun sa deep pit na ito. So ito lang yung naiilawan kasi under here. So it will be the same if the light will come from the right side or my right hand side here. Magiging reversed siya. Ito na yung shadow nandito, yung ilaw nandito. And yung ito naman, shadow is on this area and the light will be on this area. So that is how you can utilize or you can use yung retro illumination to observe or differentiate those different dots dun sa ano sa ano na to sa ocular surface ng patient ninyo. So yan yung sabi ko sa inyo, you have to try and check yung mga friends ninyo. Try to practice using the slit lamp so that you can observe and you can do these types of illuminations with ease then, and you can analyze different you can analyze better and you can do your differential diagnosis better then also. Okay, so most of yung causes niya is lens modalities. This is usually observed in patients who are wearing extended wear lenses or yung lenses na ginagamit natin pag natutulog, which is the Air Optics Night and Day, a silicone hydrogel contact lens that can be worn day and night even when sleeping, and yung length of lens wear niya also, and yung oxygen transmissibility niya, lower DKT, oxygen transmissibility of the lenses. Kasi most of the time, for extended wear lenses, they also have lower DKT value or oxygen transmissibility. And yun nga, yung length of lens wear ng patient ninyo, most of the time, gusto nila is long hours or yung hindi talaga nila tinatanggal yung contact lenses niya, which is even though the patient or yung contact lens is marketed na pwede nyo itulog or 30 days na pwede nyo isuot day and night, it is still always important or suggested that the patient will remove it for cleaning purposes na lang din. So imagine yung parang ganyan yung contact lenses ninyo, imagine na hindi nyo siya, for example, parang postizo din na imagine mo na hindi mo siya brush man lang. Tapos, permanent mo siya na sinusuot for quite a long time. So, there is bound to have some build-up and problems dun sa, dun sa surface ng contact lens. So, management, of course, increase yung DKT value. So, we try to look for a more oxygen transmissible extended lens if your patient still wants extended wear lenses or extended wear rigid lenses. We try to ask the patient to decrease the frequency of overnight wear. Most of the time, we ask the patient to remove na lang when they are going to sleep, or parang ang iaano lang natin doon is parang kapag maaalala niyang tanggalin niya, hindi naman siguro every night na matutulog siya na makakalimutan niyang tanggalin yung contact lenses niya. So another one is the change from extended wear to daily wear. So at least say daily wear is a little bit more flatter, higher oxygen transmissibility, higher water content din siya. And of course, change from hydrogel lenses to rigid lenses also, especially if your patient is still not okay with daily wear, which is hydrogel lenses. We try to go for rigid lenses na lang. Kasi rigid lenses have the highest oxygen transmissibility compared to soft lenses also. Especially the parameters niya kasi is very small, ay yung diameter niya is small, and yung material niya is usually gas permeable, kaya siya RGP, rigid gas permeable lenses yun. So there are holes, micro holes in the rigid lenses that will help in transferring and removing help in gases moving in and out of yung pre-lens tear film and post-lens tear film niya. And of course, if ever that your patient is wearing hydrogel lenses or rigid lenses, when they have these kinds of complications, we try to opt for silicone hydrogel lenses if this is okay din sa kanya. And of course, avoid defective parameters or avoid defective lenses. So that is the end of our discussion for corneal complications. Are there any questions here?
Doc, pang midterm po 'to?
Yes, this one is for midterm.
Okay.
Okay, so currently, meron ba kayong questions for these kinds of complications also for the cornea?
Wala naman.
Okay, so as usual, we have your assignment then. Instead of a quiz, we'll go for an assignment na lang then. So define epithelial wrinkling. What are the signs of and symptoms of epithelial wrinkling? What causes epithelial wrinkling? And what are the treatment options for epithelial wrinkling? And of course, give the differentials or differential diagnosis for epithelial wrinkling. This is to be handwritten. And as long as you do not use yellow pad paper, that's okay for me. You just take a photo and upload it dito sa G-class ulit natin. Please, kung kaya ninyong i-adjust ang brightness kung saan kayo nagpipicture, please do so. Hindi ko naman iko-question ng handwriting, pero yung brightness lang sana. And basta wag kayong gumamit ng yellow paper kasi medyo nahihirapan din na medyo mahirap din na siya, mabasa actually. Okay, so that's the portion for our I think okay naman itong si ninyo
Doc, yung
si
deadline.
okay, si deadline, this will be by Friday naman ito. Have to submit or upload this before the end before 5 o'clock ng Friday. So do your research na lang earlier also. So, yung next na concern natin is yung i-announce ko din sana yung sa ordering ninyo ng contact lens for multifocal. So, at this moment, trial trial fitting lenses are not available talaga for students actually for yung sa multifocal lenses. So, I have agreed or nakipag ako sa iOS that we can do one pair ordering ng Air Optics na multifocal, which is yung yung monthly disposables nila. So you can order one pair or na magkaibang, pwede pa rin na magkaibang grado. But if there are cases that your patient's prescription is not available in the per pair, you will have to order yung by the box na din siya. So currently, if you can order naman by the pair, ang nasabi sa akin na price will be saan na yun? One pair is 1,110. Kasi usually ang per pair niya is 1,300 for optometrists. For students, that's now 1,110. So meron ng optometrist discount, meron din siyang student price which is 1,110. That is already one pair na din ng Air Optics. And then you will perform yung lens fitting assessment for your patient. First is yung VA. So, proceed kayo kaagad sa official dispensing na lang din for this one. So, ang date ng final dispensing will be on the, ano na yung sinabi kong date sa inyo? Contact lens. Clinical scan. Ay, hindi ko maopen.
March 14 po, Doc,
Okay.
yung final dispensing phase.
Ayun. March 14 is your dispensing phase or final dispensing phase of your multifocal. So, before March 14, if in cases na na-order ninyo or dumating na yung lenses ng patient ninyo, you can go forth with trial fitting. So, you can fit, EVA ninyo yung patient ninyo. And then, if it is a good, good fit, maganda ang kanyang parameters, your patient can report back at March 14 for your final dispensing phase para makuha ko or ma-inspect ko yung kanyang VA. But if your patient does not meet yung standards niya before yung you will reorder yung needed na parameters niya. So, ang kailangan natin for your dispensing phase is of course your lens fitting assessment. Aside from your lens fitting assessment, we also need your patient's visual acuity, far and near for this one. So far and near, and of course dun sa after ng visual acuity, if your patient is okay din in terms of yung over refraction niya. So you over refraction for distance VA lang naman ang gagawin natin dito. And if your patient is not comfortable naman with their current prescription, hindi niya mabasa yung best VA niya with VT7 findings, um, we will have to perform contact lens over refraction to see kung which is which, kung over refracted ka ba or under refracted. Or ang gagawin natin is we do yung suggested over refraction process ng multifocal so that we can go for monovision naman. Okay, are there any questions currently dito sa natin sa multifocal?
Bali po, Doc, kapag dumating po yung order, yung mismong lens po, pwedeng yun po yung gagamitin for fitting. Then, i-dispense lang po ulit kapag sa 14 na po.
Yes, that can be arranged naman na ganun. Kasi if okay naman yung parameters ng current pair na na-purchase ninyo, then all the patient needs to do is to report na lang by March 14 para alam makita ko kung paano niya isuot, tanggalin, and makita yung VA niya first hand kung talaga bang nakuha niya yung best possible VA or yung exact VA ng VT number 7 ninyo.
Okay po, Doc.
So, in terms of trial fitting, you can schedule even before yung before Fridays, mga ganyan. Any day, basta before March 14, you have finalized na din siya.
Doc, yung pagta-trial fitting namin sa kanya, yung kahit kami na lang, hindi.
Yes, you can do your trial fitting. Tapos, as long as, yun nga, sa dispensing process natin for this one, first timer or frequent wearer na din ng contact lens, you still have to do your patient. So, March 14, your patient's, yung dispensing process nyo is, of course, patient education. After patient education, demonstrate your VA ng patient, VA, lens fitting assessment, lens fitting assessment, and the VA lens fitting assessment, and of course, yung final points, key suggestions para sa patient ninyo. And of course, you have to provide your patients care solutions or yung care regimen para dun sa certain na ano na yun, certain na contact lens na yun. And of yeah, yun naman. Are there questions for that also?
Sorry, Doc. Yung lens fitting assessment, Doc, may
Mm-hmm.
form ba yun or kami lang yung mag-a-assess?
May?
May form po ba yun?
Andun
O,
sa pinakababa ng patient form nyo.
okay, okay.
Oo. Andun sa baba. Ang i-include nyo na lang siguro doon is yung VA ng near and far. Okay, so any
Doc,
more questions? Oh, yes.
may time limit, may ano po ba yun? Pag sa
Patient
fitting,
education, fitting, you are only allowed to do it 1 hour.
okay po, Doc.
Kapag nakapag-exceed kayo, you will move out of the dispensing area. Continue it na lang siguro if ever na kaya dun sa labas. Kasi as usual, dispensing day will be by the hour and by batches din also. And hopefully by that time din, madami na din pwedeng magamit na units, hindi lang 5 units ang per hour na paggamit ay ng 5 units na 5 cubicles lang yung pwedeng magamit. So next na na lang din natin is so by Friday you will be having your written exam also for your prelims. So this will be done in batches also. So that will be 8 to 9 and 9 to 10. So 8 a.m. to 9 and 9 to 10. And the reason why we have to do this in the morning is because you have your online seminar for rigid lens rigid lens fitting. That would be by 2 p.m. naman. Sorry. 3 o'clock. 3 o'clock p.m. 2 to 3 p.m. naman yung schedule. I will be sharing the link for that. Make sure that you have installed Microsoft Teams. Kasi it's either Microsoft Teams or Zoom ang gagamitin ni GB Vision for your lecture. But I'm pretty sure baka Microsoft Teams kasi nagsa-survey din ata kasi sila. So,
Doc,
okay. Mm-hmm.
may, may ano po sana pero hindi siya related dun sa topic kanina and dun sa trial fitting.
Mm-hmm.
Ano po, Doc, yung sa pasyente po, bale dalawa kami ni Salvador.
Mm-hmm.
Kasi po, di ba po, one pair ordering po ang multifocal.
Mm-hmm.
Yung patient po namin is, ang sphere po nila is magkaiba. Plano yung OD po is, yung sa akin po, OD is plus 25, OS plano.
Mm-hmm.
Same po pero na add
Same ang
150.
reading. Mm-hmm. So,
Opo.
since this is one pair ordering, most of the time by piece naman siya. So, pwedeng magkaiba ang grado sa pag-order ninyo. Even if you are going to order by the box, if ever na by the box ang gagawin ninyo, each box contains 3 pieces lang. Yun ba yung inaano mo? Hindi mo alam kung i-order ay magkaibang grado, if ever?
Ano po sana, Doc? Parang ang ano namin kung pwede pong, kasi plus 25 lang po yung ano niya, kung
Mhm.
pwedeng plano na rin.
We'll try to
Iplano.
see yung patient form ninyo. Kasi it is not always that case na kailangan natin iplano yung dalawa. And if ever, I'll try to see yung patient form ninyo ni Loria.
Okay po, Doc.
And there are some also, I think, na hindi pa nakapag-approve ng ordering. Paki-message na lang ulit ako kasi baka natabunan kayo. Or kung nandito kayo na nakikinig ngayon, you can tell me directly na so I can see kung ano yung baka hindi ko nakita yung mga ninyo, mga needed na data ninyo. And if ever din naman na magsasend din kayo ng photo or yung mga sinesend ninyo na reassessment, syempre isend ninyo din kung ano yung parang sabihin nyo na, Doc, I have finished my reassessment on refraction, reassessment on yung sa sa slit lamp examination, I have made my edits, ganyan. Hindi yung magsisend lang kayo ng photo and expect me to parang read it na ano, parang anuin kaagad and then get back to you kaagad. Siyempre, be a little bit more, ano, sabihin mo, parang at least magsabi naman kayo kung ano yung kailangan na magawa doon. Hindi yung parang nag-send kayo tapos end of story, ganun na siya. And for some also, in terms of sa case presentation, sa one-on-one, I do let me remind you that this is a formal case presentation. Hindi tayo nagchichismisan or hindi tayo yung nag-ano. Although, yeah, on the side, we can joke some stuff about that. Pero try to keep it a little bit more professional. Meron din naman tayong limit kung paano tayo nagjo-joke during your clinical case presentation, ganyan. Pero wag naman yung lagi or parang gino-joke mo na yung buong case presentation mo. Kasi this is actually preparing you also to on how you present your cases in terms of yung other subjects ninyo also or other